What's up guys, Apple just wrapped up their October 23rd event where they announced some awesome new stuff. So in this video, I'm going to be doing a recap telling you everything you need to know about what they announced. So first up, let's talk about the iPad. At today's event, they announced the iPad 4th generation. Yes, that's right. Even though the 3rd generation just came out not that long ago. But don't worry, it's not like a huge update. They just kind of updated the specs and a few things on the iPad. And it's going to be the same price point, but here's what's in it. So you're going to get the A6X processor, which is going to double the CPU and graphics performance. So it's going to be 2 times faster, and it's going to look a little bit better as far as graphics. On the front, you're going to have a 720p HD FaceTime camera now, so you can do HD FaceTime calls or videos or pictures from the front-facing camera, Skype, whatever you want to do. Then also, it's got the lightning connector, and that's, I think, the reason they did the iPad 4 is just so they can get the lightning connector on it and kind of get it even with all the other devices out there right now. They definitely wanted that on it. It's going to have expanded LTE coverage, so now they're adding the iPad to Sprint in the US and then some other carriers in other countries. And then, of course, it's going to have 10 hours of battery life and the same Retina display. And again, it's the same price point as before. Shut up, email. Same price point as before, and it's pretty much replacing the iPad 3. I don't think you can buy the iPad 3 after the iPad 4 is out, so it's just going to take its place, and yeah. iPad 4. And next up is the iPad mini. We've been hearing rumors about it forever, and it's finally here. They have finally announced it. The screen is 7.9 inches. Now remember, that is diagonally from corner to corner. And if you want a comparison to compare it to something, the iPad 3 is 9.7 inches rather than 7.9. So you just flop the numbers around. The thickness of the new iPad mini is 7.2 millimeters thick. That is as thin as a pencil. They don't say whether it's a number 2 pencil or whatever, but it's as thin as a pencil. That's super, super thin. And it's got the same curved back as the iPod Touch 5th generation, if you've seen that, in case you want an idea of what it's going to look like. And it's only 0.68 of a pound, which is less than a pound, and it is 53% lighter than the iPad 3, which makes sense because it's a smaller iPad. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit lighter. Now, you can get this in 2 different colors, black and white, and it's actually just like the iPhone 5 is, where you can get it in slate, which is the black, or you can get it in white, which is more of like a silver and white mix. And then as far as the resolution of the screen, it is 1024 by 768, which is the same as in the iPad 2. So basically what they did with this iPad mini is gave it the same specs as the iPad 2, except some stuff is even a little bit better. Now, as far as the inside of the iPad mini, it's got a dual-core A5 chip. Of course, the FaceTime HD 720p camera on the front. It's got a 5-megapixel iSight camera on the back, which has 1080p video recording, so that should look pretty nice. It's got LTE, so that's going to be awesome for those faster speeds. Of course, it's going to have the lightning connector, just like all the other devices out now, and it's going to have 10 hours of battery life. So that's pretty much it for the iPad mini. Now, the price points of it: 16GB iPad mini is $329. That's the starting point. 32GB is $429. A 64GB is $519. And then if you want the LTE models, it's an extra $130 for every model. For each size, you're going to add $130 to those if you want the LTE. Along with the iPad mini, you get 5 different colors of smart covers. So they've got mini smart covers made for the iPad mini also. Now the iPad mini and the 4th gen iPad will be available for pre-order on the 26th. The Wi-Fi version will ship on November 2nd, and the cellular versions, or the LTE versions, will ship 2 weeks later. So there you go. 26 you can pre-order, available on November 2nd, unless you want the LTE, which is 2 weeks later. Next up, let's talk about Macs. Now, I'm not going to go into all the specs and everything because you can see that on Apple's site. I'll just give you the base information that you need. If you want to go check it out, again, Apple's site, apple.com. So they announced a new 13-inch MacBook Pro with Retina Display. It's thinner now. It's 0.75 inches thick, which is 20% thinner than the 13-inch MacBook Pro we had previously, and it only weighs 3.5 pounds, which is almost a full pound lighter than the 13-inch MacBook Pro that we have now. Now, the resolution is 2560 by 1600. That is 4 times the resolution that is in the MacBook Pro we have now. That's insane. And making it have the second highest resolution of a computer ever. And the only computer to beat that is the 15-inch MacBook Pro with Retina Display. So they're the top two highest resolution computers in the world. The screen is has 29% higher contrast ratio and 75% reduced glare or reflection. So you won't see as much reflection on the actual screen. It has a FaceTime HD 720p camera on the front. It's got MagSafe 2. Dual Thunderbolt ports, SD card slot, HDMI output, dual USB 3.0, Bluetooth 4, no optical drive, and then you can configure it up to 768 gigabytes of flash storage, 8 gigs of RAM, or you can choose Core i5 or i7 Ivy Bridge chips. The battery life on the new MacBook Pro is 7 hours, and the baseline model starts off at $16.99, and these start shipping today. If you want all the other specs and models and stuff like that, pricing, go ahead and head on over to Apple's site to see all of that. Next up is the Mac Mini. It also received a nice little update today. The new Mac Mini has 4 USB 3.0 slots, an SD card reader, HDMI. You can get it in Core i5 or i7 Ivy Bridge chips. It comes up to 16 gigabytes of RAM, and you can get up to 1 terabyte of hard drive space, or you can get 256 gigs of solid state drive storage. The baseline model Mac Mini starts at $599 and starts shipping today. So if you want to go pick one of these up or see any of the other specs, again, check out Apple's site. You can do it all there. And finally, let's talk about the new iMac. It has an all new super thin design. At its thinnest point, it comes down to a mere 5 millimeters. That is ridiculous. I do not see how they fit this whole computer into a package that small. It's 80% thinner than the previous iMac that was out. That is ridiculous. And it also is 8 pounds lighter than before. Not that it really matters because you're not picking up a big iMac all the time anyways, but when you have to, I guess that will help. It doesn't have an optical drive in it, so that's kind of a downfall because I kind of want that in my iMac, but with the thinness, you got to do away with that. So the 21.5 inch, the resolution of that is going to be 1920 by 1080, and then for the 27 inch model, it's going to be 2056 by 1440. Now the screen itself is also going to be better. It's going to have 75% less reflection, so it's going to look better that way. It's going to have better brightness, and you can see it from a wider viewing angle. It's also got a 720p HD FaceTime camera, dual mics and speakers, 4 USB 3.0 ports, NVIDIA Kepler graphics. You can configure the hard drive to 768 gigabytes of flash storage. And they also have this new thing called a Fusion drive, which basically is a hard drive and a solid state drive in one. So that way you run your operating system and all the apps you use on the solid state drive so it runs faster, and then have everything else on the hard drive. And it's all in one, and it's easy to use, and you pretty much just drag and drop which applications and stuff you want to use on which side of the hard drive, and it makes it super simple, and it's going to make it a lot faster. So that's pretty awesome. It's not a new idea. I think they've already had that with some PCs, but it's awesome that Apple is doing this with the new iMac. Oh, and another thing, it uses 50% less power when your computer is sitting idle. So there you go. There's an update to the iMac. Now, as far as prices, the 21-inch iMac is going to start out at $12.99, so it bumped up $100, which is going to be coming in November. And then the 27-inch model is going to be starting at $17.99, which will ship in December. So if you guys want to check these out, again, any of the specs, pictures, or anything like that, head on over to Apple's website so you guys can see all the details and everything you need right there. Oh, and then one final other thing, iBooks also got a small little update. Now they've added continuous scrolling, so rather than just turning through pages, you can actually just scroll up and down. I don't see why they didn't do that. It's pretty awesome. You can tap to share on Facebook, Twitter, email, blah, blah, blah. And then it's got iCloud integration, and this is available today to download right now. It's just an update to the iBooks app. There you go. So there it is, everything that they announced at today's Apple event. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did, click the like button down below and make sure you subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Of course, when the iPad mini comes out, I'll be getting that, doing some videos on it, as well as maybe possibly the new MacBook Pro Retina Display and the new iMac. I may be getting those and switching them out with the computers I have now. I'm not guaranteeing that, but hopefully I can. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.